In this episode, we will travel to France to delve into the incredible world of cognac with Cyril, who is the head of Camus, the renowned cognac company. Representing the fifth generation of the family, which has been involved in the production of this noble drink for over 2 centuries. In 2010, Cyril took over the company's management, starting to implement new approaches, successfully blending traditions with modern technologies. Today, Camus is recognized worldwide as a producer of premium cognacs. We will visit the family residence, vineyards in the Cognac region, and the visitor center to learn about the production process and Cyril's unique philosophy in creating beverages of the highest quality. Lastly, we will also discover why he had faith in the Layan Verde project and made the decision to invest in it, thereby establishing the Camus Guest House in Phuket. Join us on our exciting journey. Let's start our interview right now.
Voilà.
Cyril, I have observed that we are conversing at this moment and you are simply inhaling the aroma of the cognac rather than consuming it. You can assist me to a small extent, I sincerely acknowledge. I am a total novice in these customs, in the act of tasting, in having a sophisticated comprehension of how to consume cognac in the correct manner. Can you provide me with additional information? I have a genuine interest in learning more about it.
It's true, yeah, it's funny you noticed, but with spirits, a lot of the enjoyment comes from the nose, right? You say, if you cannot smell, you cannot taste, right? When we blend cognac, when we produce cognac, most of the work we do is through smelling it. The tasting only comes to confirm what we've done in terms of blending or in terms of crafting the cognac. But smells great as well. So I just enjoy smelling my cognac. I love the perfumes of it. But again, this is what we're all about: creating emotions and pleasure. So technically, you don't have to drink much cognac to enjoy. You can derive a lot of enjoyment from just smelling it.
There is something to it. Just a couple of minutes ago, I was also sniffing like you, and I feel like it is starting to have an effect on me, albeit a small one. I am very glad we had the opportunity to meet in Phuket, and it was a pleasure to also meet your lovely wife during our time there. She is truly delightful. And when I look at you all, you are such a beautiful family and you are so harmonious. But I comprehend that you are constantly working. At this moment, Alexa is in Shanghai, and you are present here. Tell me, first and foremost, about your wife. She is from Odessa, my fellow townsman. And please, could you tell me how you two actually met? Where did the two of you meet each other?
I'm lucky enough that that our business is very international in nature. Of course, the production of cognac, the heart and the soul of the company is in France, in the Cognac region, in the middle of the vineyards. We can only produce cognac there. So, of course, my roots and the family roots are in cognac. So my life involves a lot of time on planes. I would say a very nomadic lifestyle in many ways, and I'm very lucky. Alexa is a very good traveler, and so am I. So we can, handle the jet lags quite easily. Also lucky that my 2 older kids now are also of an age where they want to meet up their parents every once in a while, so they come and join us in different places around the world. So for someone who travels a lot, I actually spend a large amount of my time with the family. Alexa is a very important part of what we're doing as a company. The vision we are implementing today is very much a reflection of the vision she brought to the company. So it is important that we can do this, that we merge not only the personal lives but also the business life. I know all the books tell you should separate, business and the family and so on. I don't believe in this. I think, in family businesses, that the company and what you do through the company is such an important part of your life that you have to share it with your family as well.
You promptly answered my subsequent inquiry regarding me also having a family business. I additionally engage in business with my spouse. I also hold the belief that a family business involving a spouse can be established and can serve as a stable enterprise. Has your family been able to maintain this business? You're already in the 5th generation and now handing it down to the 6th generation to your sons, a business that was established by your ancestors. And how significant is this responsibility? What values and principles do you have in your family to prevent it from being taken or usurped by some market monsters or unscrupulous entities? All of the hills that are currently visible above no longer belong to the families that initially created them in the first place.
Yeah, we're, as you point out, we're an old company. Actually, in the world of cognac, we're quite a young company. We were started only 160 years ago.
Only.
Only. Our main competitors in the market were started maybe 100 years or 150 years before us. So, and your question is a very good one. You know, what do you want to transfer to your kids? The first question that is linked to that very often is do you want to transfer business or do you want to transfer wealth? A lot of people choose to transfer wealth, a certain amount of wealth to their children, and then let them start their own business or start their own careers. There's a reason why we exist. There's a certain amount of emotions and pleasures we can create in people that no other brand or no other company. And transferring wealth to the next generation, we would lose that. We would lose the impact we have on the people around us and the notion that what we do matters. So that's the first thing we're transferring, that sense of purpose. The second thing that each generation has been very good at transferring is values. The positive impact you have around you and your business has around you is also based on the values of the companies. For the older generation, that means part of you will live on as well, right? Because if you impart those values to your children, part of you will continue to exist and they will be carried out. The third pillar, I think, in transmission is education. Maybe it's a very Asian concept, but it's also most parts of the world. It is ensuring that the next generation is equipped with the all the tools to think well, to think clearly, and to think with a high level of ethics as well. And we've been very fortunate that we all received that kind of education.
Very interesting. I'm actually studying this topic. But let's now delve a bit more into the numbers regarding the business specifically related to Camus.
Camus is the 5th largest cognac company, the 5th largest producer, but we are much smaller in volume than the other 4. And much bigger than anyone after us. So really quite of a unique size, and that's very much on purpose. We have a strategy which is to grow the economic and social value generated by the company, not through additional volume, but through optimizing the value created by every bottle or every liter of cognac we produce. We release onto the market every year 2.4 million bottles, and that is it. It's not one more, not one less. It's always the same number every year. We have about 300 employees around the world from about 17 different nationalities, which is great fun.
Wow.
And we have one shareholder, which is also allows us to do a lot of things. Yeah.
May I collect the gentleman?
Sure, it's 23 kilos. Behold your back.
23 kilos? No, just
Just a bottle.
oh, just bottle, yeah.
But this is not 65,000.
This is about 13,000.
13.
Yeah, 13.
Just 13,000 euros for a bottle, but the most expensive one is priced at 68,000 euros.
So this is
Oh,
This is what we're drinking now.
That is the type of cognac bottle XSO directly from the owner in the fifth generation of a family-owned world-class cognac production. It is the #1 brand that remains within the family. It will be given away among our subscribers.
So this is a bottle where there is only one in the world, like this. We explored with this collection, Ode to Nature, we explored the different elements that have an influence on the quality of a cognac or the production of the cognac. So you have earth, of course, you have water, air, fire. So the 4 elements. And we created for each element a really special cognac. So once again, more than 50 years of age, but they went through a very special treatment. So for example, this is the air, so the wind. And because the air is really important for us, the climate. So this cognac, 50-year-old cognac, has been treated with a micro-oxygenation process that no one else has done before. And that changes the aging profile of the cognac a little bit. So it makes it completely unique. And we then designed a box for it. And that is an embroidery of precious stones on satin. Just the work of the box itself takes more than 3 months just to embroider this on the box, and of course took more than 50 years for the cognac. And then of course when you want to enjoy your cognac, it's always something that you share with friends usually. So we would have here, you know, the box with your 2 glasses of cognacs, also in crystal, also engraved with the logo of this unique piece. The bottle itself, of course, is in Baccarat crystal. Most of our cognacs are in Baccarat. So one of the very unique pieces we do.
We will have a drink together. I hope it will last until then. It is the only one in the world, or a similar bottle. If you sell it to us, we will consume it at the opening, naturally.
Yes, of course. This is one reason, and one of the things we want to do in Layan Verde as well. Those products, they cannot be shown, they cannot be made available in a normal liquor store. The environment's just not proper. So you need either an art gallery or you need to have your own space. So in Layan Verde, we also want, we will bring there part of our collection of those very unique cognacs. So people who maybe want to travel to Asia will also get a chance to see, buy or taste those really unique products without having to come to France. So you can see those products, you can see them in Cognac, you can see them in our apartment in Paris. Soon we'll be able to see them in Phuket.
Cyril, please inform us about this room and this table.
This is one of only 5 pieces that were created. This is a Cognac that was created when I turned 50 years old. So 2 years ago now, we created a blend of 5 different cognacs, all of which were 50 years and above. And we wanted to create not just a cognac, but a way for our consumers to discover how we build such exceptional blends. So we have, of course, here the blend of cognac in a Baccarat crystal decanter. This also is a unique collection from Baccarat, and we secured the very few last bottles from them. But that's the blend we created, but we give our consumers the chance to also recreate this blend. So we have here the 5 unique cognacs that went to create the blend, and then some extra serving of this blend. So you can yourself...
I see 6 here.
Exactly. So this is the 5 cognacs in the blend. This is the same as this blend. So with those 5, you can create variations of this. With this, you can refill the bottle. And of course, you need you need the glasses to be able to enjoy this as well. So we have, because it's, you know, cognac is always to share with friends. And the table itself is meant to represent the most important moments of my life, or the places that matter the most for me. So there's of course Cognac, where I was born. There is Moscow, where I did my first business trip with my father when I was 8 years old. Boston, when I was received my entrepreneurial education. Shanghai, where I have lived for a number of years. And of course, we have this in common, Odessa, because this is where I met my wife. So the diamond, of course, is Odessa.
Yeah.
And, you know, having an object like this makes your experience of drinking that drop of cognac or that glass of cognac so much nicer, so much more emotional. And yeah, we always try to do this better and better. And it truly is the merging in many ways of the skills from 5 generations of the family, and the vision of my wife Alexa in saying, you know, making a great cognac is good, but let's make it a great experience, and let's dare to be creative. It doesn't matter if no one else done it before. We can do it, and we should do it, and that's how those things exist.
Cyril, you mentioned that you operate in 140 countries and have 73 nationalities. How do you manage to avoid any conflicts at all? There are 73 different mentalities after all. You possess a wealth of experience.
Well, this is a really good question, Vadim. Yeah. For the longest time, we didn't really have to worry about cultural differences or having so many different nationalities in the company, because everything was really centered in cognac. Mm-hmm. And we were selling our cognac out to the world. So all the salespeople, everybody was based in cognac, and it was mostly French people then selling to importers. And then at the time when my father was running the company, things started to change. We started to put in some local teams in the different countries. So we had a big team in Japan, for example. Mm-hmm. Then we started putting a team in the US, then in Russia. The way we've done it has been actually quite simple. Is that we have codified our values. We have codified our code of ethics. So by following this set of values and this code of conduct, if you will, they can manage the way that we feel comfortable with, whether it's totally locally adapted and acceptable.
Please, kindly share with me. Listen, in your line of work, I am of the opinion that the level of competition is exceedingly high, to the extent that a multitude of competitors would be keen on acquiring the company.
Our enemy is not the competitors. Our enemy is mediocrity. Doing something good enough. That's the enemy. We don't want to do good enough. We want to do great, and we want to do always better. So that's why we're fighting. That's why everyone in the company is pulling behind and driving towards, is always improving the quality of the product. And that's why we have managed to remain independent in the end, because we have this real sense of purpose, and it makes, you know, the short-term temptation of, you know, maybe bring some inside investors to prop up the business or accelerate. As soon as you have outside investors, it's much harder to follow your faith and follow your purpose, because you have those objectives of, you know, short-term results. You know, what profit you're going to make this quarter or next quarter, how much risk are you going to want to take. So not having any investors in the company, being fully family-owned, we can truly maintain that long-term vision and maintain that sense of purpose. The profits, they are a result of that vision. They are not the purpose. You need them, right? You need the profits. The company needs to be profitable to be sustainable over the future and to grow. But that comes as a result. As I said, the enemy is mediocrity, is saying this is good enough. That's the real enemy. And this is one that everybody can rally behind. But, you know, on competition, I'll tell you also something. The world of spirits, especially cognac, it's quite a small world. Most of our employees, they will have worked somewhere else before, or they might work somewhere else in the future. I want to make sure they were proud of the company they worked for. So, as mentioned, it's a logical approach.
It is Incredible. In this place, we were also the pioneers in constructing an environmentally friendly initiative in Phuket, the first to obtain a certification for our efforts. And when we began contemplating our development, examining competitors, we came to the realization that our only competition would be ourselves. In terms of this aspect, our value is quite similar. With this breathtaking view, I would like to inquire and ask you, what is the share that cognac occupies in the country of France? What is the number of sales for these 2,400,000 bottles that you sell in France?
Now, the French market could be considered a small market. France is about 3% market share for the total. But if you think that cognac is sold in almost 200 countries around the world, 3% is actually relatively high. The normal market share for a country would be 0.5%, right? So France is the number 6 market for cognac in the world, but only 3% market share. The two biggest markets are actually US, China, and then you have Eastern Europe and UK. So yeah, France, relatively small market share, but actually still a big market for cognac.
Cyril, the day after today, we will go to a small province in France, which is renowned globally for its namesake province and this exquisite alcoholic beverage known as cognac. It is a wonderful drink that is highly appreciated for its rich flavor and is enjoyed by people all over the world. I have heard that there are ongoing legal disputes between France and the government of Armenia because Armenia also refers to its brandy as Armenian cognac. Do you happen to have any knowledge or information about this matter?
Of course, so cognac is part of a larger family of spirits called brandy. So you call brandy any spirit that is made from grape, fermented into wine, and then distilled into spirit, and then aged in wood barrels. So all of that will be brandy. And you can make brandy pretty much everywhere in the world. There's brandy made in South America, there's brandy made in the US, there's brandy made in Spain, and of course there's brandy made in Eastern Europe, and then particularly Armenia and Georgia were quite famous for making brandy. Now, cognac is a specific type of brandy that can only be produced in the cognac region using a certain type of grapes, distilled in a very specific way, and aged in a specific type of oak barrels. Before the word cognac was protected within the AOC system, of course, other countries started calling their brandy also cognac. So that was the case, for example, in Armenia. Now, that could be quite confusing for consumers, so there had been a lot of conversations between the various governments to find a name that would not create any confusion, and the notion that we should call cognac only those eau de vie produced in the cognac region. Everything else should be called brandy. Now, of course, those discussions have not been completely finalized yet, and I think the compromise that was found is that you can call Armenian brandy, you can call it cognac, but only in Cyrillic and only when it is sold within the CIS countries. Everywhere else, it has to be called brandy.
Cyril, when my wife and I were in the vicinity of the Eiffel Tower, we made a light-hearted comment, jokingly referring to it as an iconic and monumental project. The construction of the Eiffel Tower took place in the year 1887, making it an iconic landmark of Paris. It took them 2 years to construct. Creators never imagined it would become a symbol of Paris, but it did. I truly desire to. I am profoundly inspired and impressed to construct something as grandiose as the Eiffel Tower, which in all likelihood will stand here for hundreds of years, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape. However, I am optimistic that our project will endure for hundreds of years.
I understand the feeling, because when you create something that is your vision, you want it to last forever. You want it to have an impact for forever. We said when we create our masterpiece cognacs that you have seen, we always seek to create something that will last forever, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and we're never quite sure which ones will last longer. We tend to find out is the ones that you build with the most soul, the ones you build without the constraints on trying to figure out what did other people do. But when it's a pure expression of your vision, that remains forever, and that lasts forever. So I think, and I hope, Layan Verde will fit in this. It's definitely built with your vision. It's iconic, and I think it could be a part of the landscape and the local structure for very, very long time. Yeah.
Cyril, this evening we will dine at a Michelin-starred restaurant located upstairs. And inform me, do they serve Camus Cognac in that place?
Yeah, tonight we're going to have dinner there at the Jules Verne restaurant on the second floor of the Eiffel Tower. It's actually the only place in Paris where you cannot see the Eiffel Tower because you're inside it. But definitely we'll be able to enjoy a good cognac from Camus when we're there, looking at Paris, the city of light. Looking at Paris at night is one of those magnificent sights. So looking forward to it.
Kindly provide me with information about this province where we are currently situated.
Well, welcome to our home in Cognac. And this is the house where the different generations of the Camus family have been growing up and living in. The first part of the house was built in the 17th century. And originally it was a farm with our vineyards around the farm. And slowly every generation added to the house. And the room where we are today is actually the newest part of the house. It was built at the end of the 19th century by my grandfather's father. And yeah, this is very much the heart of the Camus family. This is where maybe you can touch and feel our heritage in a way.
As I am experiencing a tremendous sense of awe and delight in this location. It is evidently an exceptionally ancient estate with a remarkably old structure, yet I find myself feeling exceedingly at ease and snug within it, likely due to the presence of a warm and familial ambience.
Here, the chateau has been renovated many times, but always keeping the original design, the original style, and the furniture of the chateau. And it has a great feeling. It as you said, it feels very comfortable here. And whenever I come back to Cognac, I find a lot of pleasure staying here, sort of reconnecting in a way with the family, reconnecting with my roots. We have about 10 hectares here, so not so big. And then on the other side of the road, we have about 75 hectares of vineyards. So it ensures that this is very quiet here all the time.
And on these 75 hectares, all of the grapes are cultivated that are used to produce Camus wine.
Oh, we have more. So next to the chateau, we have 75 hectares of vineyards. Another house that you will see tomorrow, where we have another about 185 hectares of land, including 125 hectares of vineyards. So in total, we have about 300 hectares of land split in two different locations. So in addition to what we produce in our own vineyards, we would also buy wine from about 100 different wine growers. We distill everything ourselves, we age everything ourselves, and we blend everything ourselves. So all our cognacs will have a proportion in the blend that comes from our own vineyards. And some of our cognacs are 100% from our own vineyards. Our Bordeaux XO, our Bordeaux VSOP is all from our own vineyards. But our aromatic intensity XO, for example, the XO Prestige Decanter, would also incorporate some wines from different parts of the region, different wine growers. So the capacity to maintain a relationship with the wine growers, to be able to have sufficient wines to distill is very important. And that's where being a family-owned business gives us an advantage, because wine growers traditionally prefer to work with the same family that their parents have worked with, instead of working with a large corporation. So we have a competitive advantage on that front as well.
You are aware, I frequently express that one of my primary principles is the cultivation of enduring connections. But hearing you, it seems I don't grasp anything about long-term relationships at all. Let us obviously have a conversation about these long-term relationships. Could you please elaborate a bit more on those values that exist inside the company and allow this family-owned business to remain successful even after 160 years of operation? How do you commit to preserving, protecting, and upholding these values across generations, ensuring their longevity and passing them on as an enduring legacy for the future?
In our business, our vision of time is maybe a little bit different. For one thing, for example, the cognacs I'm blending right now, some of it was distilled when I was running the company, but a lot of it was distilled by my father and by my grandfather. So already we have this notion that it takes 2 or 3 generations to make one bottle of cognac. So we grow up with this sense of long time. We are kind of a community, and if you abuse the trust of someone once, this will have repercussion for multiple generations in a way. On the opposite, if you've done things right with someone or with a family once in the history of the company, the family will remember this, and it will make the connections, the relationship very strong. So in terms of building those kind of relationships, there's a few principles that we adhere to. One is to always give enough time to build a relationship. In many cases, business people tend to interact, and they would meet for 1 hour or 2 hours. They discuss a topic. Maybe they meet multiple times, but most of the conversation will be about the project or the business. I believe when you want to establish a relationship, you have to spend a lot more time with that person. You have to spend sufficient amount of hours or days sometimes where you've exhausted the business conversation, and you can start to have a personal conversation. That's when you get to really see the values of the person, the values of the family as well, by seeing how that person talks about his company, his employees, his family, how you see employees and family interacting with that person. You get a lot of information that way on the person's values. Then you can decide, is this someone I want to work with? Is this someone I can trust? So investing the time in building the relationship, I think, is key. And the second one is maintaining the trust. So everyone in the company knows that it doesn't matter who in my company makes a promise to someone. When we commit to someone, when anyone from my company says, yes, we will do this, we always do it. This is my number one principle. Even if the circumstances change, and it doesn't make business sense for us, or it doesn't make commercial sense for us anymore, if we promise we would do it, then we have to do it, and we always. So yeah, investing the time and committing to deserve people's trust by always acting in accordance with the promises you made.
You also mentioned education there, right? That you, well, sort of from generation to generation, in the rules that you pass on from generation to generation, from father to children, the values that are transmitted and how they are somehow prescribed, and if there are any, some kind of family charter.
Sure, we have some values, some principles that get transmitted from one generation to the other. Every generation, we expect and we encourage the next generation to change. I always tell my kids, this is the way I do things, and I build this or I build that for a certain reason. Those reasons will disappear at some point. The world changes. Also, my vision on how to do things is just one amongst many visions. It doesn't mean it's the right one. It's the right one for me. It doesn't have to be the right one for you. So, go ahead. I don't have a problem at all with them, and actually encourage them to do things their own way, to evolve the company also, and reinvent the company every time. And I'm looking forward to my kids making a better cognac than me. because then I will feel I've given them a base and values and ambition for them to always take the company to the next level. So we're very entrepreneurial that way. We're not about protecting the past. We embrace the heritage, which is mostly values and know-how, of course, and we build on that. And the objective is not protect; it's grow, change, transform, to always seek more aromatic intensity in the cognacs, higher quality, more pleasure in the people who consume our products.
Listen, let's now return to this house. How frequently do you reside here? How frequently do your children reside here in this house?
I come to this house every month. So I live in Shanghai. The home is in Shanghai, but I come for about 1 week per month in France, so between Paris and Cognac, and I always come back to this house. Same with when Alexa is in Cognac, we would generally stay here, and my children grew up outside of Cognac. They grew up mostly in China and the US, but every summer we would come back to Cognac. Yeah, this is why this very much is, even though we don't spend that much time here, it is the family house. This is where we come and connect. Every wedding in the family, even those who are not involved in the family business anymore, right? Every wedding in the extended family takes place here. This is where the family gathers for those moments that matters. That's our family center, and I think a lot of the older families eventually feel a need for a place like this, a place where you can connect, where you have some roots. It doesn't matter where you live. You need that one place. And for us, it's Cognac. It's this house and the other one as well.
It is quite challenging for me to conduct the interview at this very moment because I am overwhelmed by a wave of unknown and inexplicable feelings. I have a feeling that I have encountered a story similar to the one you are presently narrating, and it evokes goosebumps all over my body. I am utterly captivated by it and unable to resist its mesmerizing grip. It is like I am being struck by a surge of energy from the manner in which it permeates me throughout your entire story and your whole family. Well, allow me a moment to compose myself, and then I will refocus on attending to various business matters that require my attention. In any case, despite the fact that we were discussing investments, we encountered the subject of investments, and I believe there is something to be learned from Cognac in this context as well. So this is more focused on investments, probably, rather than business in a more general sense. So you're stating that you've made an investment in the product, resulting in a substantial increase in sales, with 2.4 million bottles being sold annually. So please tell me a little bit, what is the general structure of the economy of this business in general?
We work on many different timelines or time horizons. To run a business, of course, you have yearly objectives, or objectives at 2-3 years. Investment plans that are 1 to 3 year investment plans, and of course we track those and go as fast as we can on those. But we also have a much longer investment horizon, which is multi-generational, and it can be horizon can be 10 years, can be 30 years, or can be, we don't know when we'll get the results. And that, I believe, is because we're a family business, that we can look at this with confidence. I want my children and their children to have the best tools possible to make the best cognac in the world. Some of those things take a very long time, can take 20 to 25 years. When we started working on improving the aromatic intensity of our cognacs, I knew it was a long process. It would be a long process. We're already 20 years into that process, and there's still more we can do. There are things I'm doing now, cognacs that I distilled a certain way now, that I know will only be put in the market 20 or 30 years from now. So that investment in research, in development, in innovation is on a very large time scale. If you're only looking with the notions of return on investment from a financial perspective, a lot of what we're doing we would not do because we don't know what the return will be, or it's so far in the future that it would not make financial sense to do it today. But I believe that anything we do that creates more emotion, creates more pleasure, the return will be here because 30 years from now, our brand will be even stronger. We will be even higher above everybody else.
Your annual sales amount to 2.4 million bottles. Could you please provide details regarding the quantity of bottles stored in barrels within your warehouses that are not part of your sales inventory? They are awaiting their moment. How many of them are present?
Well, if you consider most of what we're selling is XO and above. Now, the youngest cognac in a bottle of XO has to be at least 10 years of age. So yes, by definition, we need more than 10 years of stock.
Younger than 10 years, you don't sell?
We also sell, but it's a small part of our business. So we sell some VS cognac. We sell VSOP cognac as well, but most of what we do is XO. And it's more and more like this, right? It's 2.4 million bottles, but the product mix changes more towards the older cognacs. That's how we build value. So as you're building value, you also need to build the size of your stock. That's why you don't have many investors coming in the cognac region, because the balance sheet is very heavy. It's extremely capital intensive as an industry, and our strategy, yes, calls for always increasing the quality and the value of our products, which means older cognacs, which means for the same 2.4 million bottles we put on the market every year, our stock has to get bigger and bigger all the time. So yes, it's many years of stock in the barrels.
So, am I correct in understanding that the cognac business is a business that involves investments?
Yes, but it's an expensive one because we have about 2 or 2.5% evaporation every year. So it's a high interest rate for your investment.
Please inform me, is it genuinely possible to obtain a loan by leveraging all of those barrels and the warehouse, or perhaps by leveraging some part of it? After all, it's money. You can just go to the bank and take out a loan for, well, if you need something there, like opening a new production or buying some new land.
And of course, cognac is it's a very capital intensive. So usually if you want to grow the size of the business, or if you want to increase the average age of your products, we will go and find financing from the banks. And there we have two assets really that allow us to borrow at very good rates. One is, of course, the liquid in the barrels, right? We have such a huge stock, so that's an asset that you can use as guarantees. Is something very reassuring for the financial partners. The other asset, of course, is the brand. That is sometimes an issue. For example, the problem we sometimes face is never to find money to invest in our projects. It is to find money in the form of loans, because when the banks look at us, they see a lot of value in a company with just one shareholder. Mm-hmm. And banks make a lot of more money investing in your capital rather than just loaning you money. There are, especially in the past, 20 years, equity investment has had much better returns than just, straight loans. So in that sense, staying independent means we need to give a lot of explanations all the time. No, sorry, capital is all private. We just want the simple financing tools. But it works. Two great assets, the brand and the stocks. Yeah. And the vineyards. I mean, we have a lot of land as well.
I want to ask you once again a little bit about the interior. So tell me, well, judging by everything, the fireplace is functional, right?
Oh yes, we're definitely using it every winter. I love it. Fireplace always gives.
And smelly.
Exactly. It gives a different atmosphere, right? As soon as you start it feels cozy, feels really nice. This part of the house is actually the newest one. So this was built at the end of the 19th century. So this part is maybe 130.
Please share some information about these bottles that have a very old appearance and seem to be of great antiquity.
You see Camus, of course, the name, but you see La Grande Marque, which means the great brand. That goes back to the origin of the company. When the company was created in 1863, the founder of the company, Jean-Baptiste Camus, had three partners, three associates. One was a wine grower, like him. One was a barrel maker, and another one was a banker from England. And so the four of them created a company called La Grande Marque, which means the great brand. And by 1888, Jean-Baptiste Camus had bought out all the other partners. So he was a single shareholder, and then that's when he added the name Camus to the product. And to this day, the full name of the company is still Camus La Grande Marque, Camus the great brand. So I was talking about ambition earlier, but from the very beginning of the company, there was this notion of the great brand.
Wow.
But the cognac inside, it has 3 stars here, means it's a VS type of cognac. So the youngest cognac inside has aged at least 2 years and a bit more, but it means it's quite young. And unfortunately, cognac in the bottle doesn't age. 60 or 70 years later, it's still a VS cognac. It hasn't changed.
Still young.
So it's a piece of history, but it's still a young cognac. And this one is also from around that period. It's also in the 1960s. This is called Château du Plessis. So this was a cognac that was made entirely from vineyards around the chateau. The name of our chateau is Château du Plessis, and you can see that it's been made by my grandfather, Michel Camus, owner of Château du Plessis, 100% Bordeaux cognac. And you can see here the symbol, which was by appointment to the King of Sweden. So Camus has, through the ages, been the supplier of many royal courts or imperial courts. So we were the supplier to Emperor Nicholas II, but also to the King of Sweden, the King of Siam, and so on. So something created by my grandfather. He was one of the first people to decide that cognac didn't have to be just VS, VSOP, or XO. You could also give it other names for blends that don't fit in with the usual categories. So he called this one Celebration, on the notion that cognac is very often used to celebrate big moments in life. So he made it obvious. My grandfather was very much a marketing man from early day marketing guru, and all kinds of interesting ideas like this. So yeah, calling a cognac Celebration, it makes you want to celebrate. That's simple. That's simple.
Cyril, kindly provide additional information regarding the paintings present in this particular room. And let us begin with this painting.
The founder of the company, Jean-Baptiste Camus, so who created the company back in 1863. So this is a portrait made of him towards his end of his life, when he'd already become a somewhat prosperous cognac trading house owner. So this is my grandfather's father, Gaston Camus. He's the one who bought the chateau and moved the family here. He's the one who was also traveling very often to St. Petersburg. At the time, then we were the supplier to the court of the Tsar, and then passed on the company to my grandfather, who took the company to Asia. So Michel Camus, whom we have here, started running the company when he was very young. He was 23 years old. He took Camus to Asia, and in particularly also took Camus into the world of duty-free. So today, in every airport in the world, you will see some Camus bottles. That started with with him. So this is my father, who made the company even stronger in Asia, really established us as a strong player in Japan. When Japan was such a big market for cognac. And he was really passionate about the vineyard. So he expanded our vineyard significantly. Before him, we had about 75 hectares of vineyard. Now we have 200, and that is thanks to him. And he built the vineyards in a unique way, all in borderies, all in those two locations. That's very unique because usually vineyards, at every generation, they get split up. They get fragmented into very small bits and pieces. But he spent about 30 years dealing with the neighbors and friends and so on to really have those two estates of very homogeneous vineyards. So today it puts us also in a unique position. And today we still see him in the vineyards every day, walking, and looking at the estate he's built, and that we benefit from today. And when I retire, it will be me next.
Yeah.
Here we are in our visitor center. So this is a place where we can welcome guests from around the world and explain how cognac is made. And we can also have everyone sort of experience the magic or the art of master blending, the art of assembling cognacs from different parts of the region and from different ages to create a blend of a certain style.
Well, at this moment, I will act as the group of guests accompanying you for the duration of today's event. I would like to know about the process of cognac production.
Cognac is made from grapes, grapes that can only be grown in this region of France. So it's a delimited area. We got about 82,000 hectares of vineyards here. So the grapes we would harvest towards the end of September, beginning of October. We will press the grapes to extract grape juice. This we will ferment into wine, and then we will take this wine and distill it. So we have a distillation system which is double distillation. So we distill the wine once, we obtain a liquid called brouillis at about 30% alcohol, and we take this liquid and distill it a second time, and that's where we obtain what will become cognac. So it's an eau de vie at 72% alcohol. Like any distilled spirit, it's completely clear, completely transparent liquid. We will then age it in oak barrels for a minimum of 2 years, and that's when it becomes cognac. In the region of Cognac, where the vineyards are located, we have 6 different types of soils. Some of them have more length on the palate, some of them are more floral, some of them would be more fruity. So the art of blending in cognac is really to take cognacs from those different regions, blend them together, so you bring together the length on the palate, the fruity, the floral aromas. You bring those together into your own style. We also blend cognacs of different ages together, because a young cognac is very vibrant and quite powerful, lively. And then old cognac, like a 35-year-old cognac or 50-year-old cognac, they will be very round, very soft. So we blend those to try to find always a balance that will be most pleasurable for people.
Are all of these barrels exclusively made from oak wood?
Yes, indeed. As part of the regulations for cognac, we can only use 2 types of oak, Limousin or Tronchet type of oak, fine grain or large grain. Size of the barrels can vary. At Camus, we like to use barrels of 350 liters because that we believe is perfect balance between the liquid and the wood. So what happens in the aging process, while cognac is in the barrels, is that it will breathe in some air through the wood, and it will basically oxidize. That is when it gets softer, rounder, some of the stronger alcoholic compounds will evaporate, and you will have a more subtle, more elegant product the more it ages. So to be called cognac, you have to spend at least 2 years in the oak barrels. But with Camus, we specialize on XO quality and above. And what XO means is that the youngest cognac in the blend has to have aged at least 10 years. But that's the youngest cognac of the blend. We also use in those blends, we use cognacs that are 35 years of age or more. Once again, to find that balance between liveliness, having a crisp cognac, and the roundness, the softness of a much older cognac. So barrels are very important to us because they will contain our cognac for so many years.
Cyril, kindly provide me with a more detailed explanation immediately. This is a type of spirit that is entirely transparent and easy to understand. In this area, the color is already changing to yellow, and in this other area, it is adopting a hue that is reminiscent of cognac. What is this exactly?
As I mentioned earlier, so the process is taking grapes, grape juice, wine, and then distillation. So the distillation is just concentrating the alcohol, right? The liquid that comes out of it is always transparent. You would find the same thing, of course, with vodka, with whiskey, and cognac. Now, when you put cognac in the oak barrel, that's where it will start to take some of the wood compounds. Some of it influences, of course, the taste, but it will influence the color. So the cognac, as it spends more and more time in the barrels, will start to change color. So this is a cognac that was just distilled. So it's perfectly clear and transparent liquid. And after maybe a couple of years in the barrels, you will start to find a little golden tint to it, then on and on through the years. So this one, for example, is probably aged about 10 years or so, and that's what you start moving from gold color to mahogany, little still the hints of gold, but also some red in it. So in general terms, the darker the cognac is, the more exposed to wood it has been. It doesn't always mean that a darker cognac is an older cognac. For example, if you put this newly distilled cognac in a brand new barrel, a barrel that's never been used before, after 2 or 3 years, it will already be this dark. But if you put that same cognac in a barrel that's already been used for maybe 10 years or so, after 2 or 3 years, it will only be this color. So color is a result of the aging, but is not always an indicator of the actual age of the cognac. The only indicator of age of cognac is the actual smell and taste.
So if I understand correctly, this is grape-based vodka, and this is cha-cha.
In a way, it's you could say this, but there's a really big difference is how we distill. For vodka, you will distill the raw material, basically the sugars in the raw material. You will distill this in a column at a very high strength. So what comes out of distillation is at about 96% alcohol, 94 to 96% alcohol, which means when you distill at that concentration, you remove a lot of the compounds, a lot of the organic compounds. So a distilled vodka will have no aroma and almost no taste, right? You want to be as pure as possible. Now with cognac, we don't use a column. We use what we call an alembic. It is made in copper, and it is an apparatus that allows us to distill up to 72% alcohol. So we concentrate the alcohol, but we keep most of the aromatic compounds. So just like vodka, it's going to be a clear liquid, but unlike vodka, it's going to have a lot of aromatic intensity, especially at Camus. Yeah.
Even in
this,
color,
yes, it will be very aromatic, floral, fruity. Most of the compounds, aromatic compounds, are still. And then through aging, it will not only change color, but also the alcoholic strength will slowly reduce. We have what we call the angel share, right? When the cognac is in the barrel, you have some of the volume, some of the water in the cognac will evaporate, but the alcohol will evaporate faster. So something that starts at 70 or 72% alcohol, over the years will drop down 65, 60, and so on, until it gets close to the consumption strength, which is at about 40%, 40 to 43% alcohol. So I've prepared for you just a few samples. This is a cognac from the Bordeaux region that has just been distilled. So the Bordeaux region of cognac is at the center of the region. This is where our Camus vineyards are located, and this will make very floral cognacs. So we have the Bordeaux just distilled. We have after 4 years of aging, and so it's the same cognac but 4 years in the barrels. Then still the same cognac, but 10 years in the barrel. And then we will taste a cognac from another region of France. So you'll be able to see how the taste and the smells evolve as it gets older, and also how different it is from one region to the other. So this is just a small sample. When we work on blending, of course, we work with many hundreds of different batches of cognac, but it's the same principle. So here we go. So this is a newly distilled cognac from Bordeaux. So you can, I think, already find the floral aromas, and you see very aromatic, right? Very different from vodka in that sense.
Smell like cognac, not like vodka.
Yeah, exactly. So what you will be missing in the taste and the smell is some of the tannins, of course, that come from the wood, some of the vanillin, that also is one of the compounds that will come from the wood. So this is the same cognac, but it's aged 4 years in the barrels. So you will see that
4 years already.
Yeah, 4 years already. So you'll see that it starts to get a bit rounder, a bit softer. A newly distilled cognac is going to be very mineral, very crisp. As you age it in the barrel, it takes on more complexity, and you move more towards some of the dry fruits, as well as sort of more complex floral aromas. And this one, still the same cognac from the same estate, same distillery, but this one has been aged 10 years. And this is where you find actually somewhere between 8, 9 years old and 12 years old, you have something that starts to appear in the cognac, which we call the rancio. It is that smell and that taste that only appears in older spirits. It's quite hard to describe, but when you smell it, you find it right away. It's what differentiates a young cognac from an old cognac. So already at 10 years old, you start to find that rancio. It's really quite different from 4 years.
It smells completely different. Guys, you can truly feel it, especially between the young cognac and the older one. You can genuinely sense the age and discern the distinctiveness of each with remarkable clarity. This one is very light with a youthful taste, while this one is already a serious gentleman.
So this was all Bordeaux. This is a petit champagne cognac. It makes, compared to Bordeaux, will be more forward on the fruit. Bordeaux are very floral and mineral. Grand and Petit Champagne would be more on the dry fruits.
I feel it's a little bit chocolate, no?
Yeah, as well.
Yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you get that. But you can see it's same quality level, same age, but quite a different aromas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you put too much of the very old cognacs in your blend, you get too much of taste of the wood. You get too much oakiness in it. And at Camus, we believe that the most interesting part is not the wood. It's actually the aromas itself. So we age always in barrels that have been used before, so they don't give out too much of the tannin. They don't give out too much of the oak, and we just let time do its work and transform our cognac while keeping all the aromas.
Listen, he is unquestionably smooth.
Yeah, it's very soft. It's powerful. We like our cognacs to exude vibrant. We want them to be very lively, very present, very intense, but soft. No, nothing aggressive about it. It's all round, soft, but very lively, right? Yeah. It's like an older person full of life. That's exactly what we're doing. So the magic of the master blender is really to have this memory of all those different cognacs you have in stock and how you can marry them together to craft a taste that is your own taste. It's like a painter, right? You have all those different colors that you can mix together, blend together, and you use to compose a unique painting. Cognac is the same way, using all those different elements. They're different every time to always reproduce the same beautiful painting at the end. Every cognac is different, right? Every distillation batch, every day, because the weather outside is different. And the blending process itself, it's not done all at once at the end, right? For example, to produce XO, we will first take a batch of cognac from Borderies. And after maybe 8 years of aging, we will start blending it with some older Borderie cognac, and also some cognacs from the other regions. So we would blend 2 cognacs together, and then we wait at least 6 months. It's like people, right? You need time to get along, to get to know each other, right? And the older you get, the more time it takes to get along, right? So we blend 2-3 cognacs together. We wait a few months, then we taste it again, then we blend with another cognac again, and we wait, and we keep doing that process again and again and again until you reach the style and the quality you want. So it's very iterative, step-by-step process.
Do you have a specialized team of individuals who are exclusively responsible for executing this process, or is it solely dependent on the discretion of a solitary individual to ascertain when this specific flavor is deemed appropriate for the purpose of bottling?
We have a team for the tasting of the cognac. So we have one cellar master, Julie. So she is in charge of deciding on the blends, but she has around her 3 other people who will taste all the different cognacs with her, because it's important to exchange, to discuss each glass and each cognac. Then I will work with Julie, and we will discuss what I'm looking for. If I want something that is, for example, extremely floral with more notes of iris rather than violet, for example, I will work with that. She knows what we have in stock, and she will propose blends to me, which I will taste with her and say, oh, yeah, this is what I'm looking for, but maybe more of this, more of that, and then she will try again, and we'll exchange again. Once again, a very iterative process until we find and we get to what I was looking for, and then she's in charge of reproducing it all the time. So that's for most of our blends. We have an exception to this rule, which is for our Cuvée series. Those are exceptional blends that we produce once every 2 or 3 years. And those, it is fully the master blender deciding what it will be, because her mandate is to create the most exceptional blend possible at that time, given what we have in stocks. So she knows exactly what we have, and that's fully her creations, and for me it's always a pleasant surprise. So the cuvées are fully her creation. The other blends, it's a work together.
All right, let's have a more in-depth conversation about this bottle. So all of the details you mentioned about this bottle, that is exactly how the taste of this X was produced. Am I understanding correctly?
Exactly. This is one of our flagship products. This is really what Camus specializes on. So XO and above, basically cognacs where you have, what you discovered here, this rancio, this particular aroma that only comes in after about 10 years of age, and we package it in a decanter, and that is both very traditional in a way with those stripes, but with quite a modern contemporary twist. And we designed this. You will see there is no Camus brand anywhere. Our bottles, especially the XO bottle, it's not an advertising banner, right? It's not a pole sign saying, hey, look, I'm Camus, right? Not advertising sign. It's just a beautiful object, something that you will be very happy to put on the table when you're hosting people at home, because I believe all senses have to be involved in the enjoyment, the smells, the taste, but also the touch. So that's why we have, metal stoppers, because it has got this nice, heavy, cold touch. And of course, the aesthetics, the look, it has to look beautiful. So I really believe the more beautiful the packaging, also the more pleasant the experience. We don't like the notion that we would create such beautiful bottles and then it just gets thrown away. Not having any branding on it means even after you finish this bottle of cognac, you can keep using it as a decanter for your other spirits or your wines or anything you would like. So both a beautiful cognac and a beautiful object.
Cyril, we were just in the cellars, where old barrels, where everything is permeated with an atmosphere of antiquity. Currently, we are observing a super modern space. We kindly ask you to share with us the details of this remarkable transition from a very old state to an incredibly super modern state. What is currently being created in this room? What is presently being produced in this area of work?
Yes, we're here in the Atelier Camus, which is a really special place, unique in the industry. This is a workshop where we bring in different crafts to be able to create beautiful objects, beautiful pieces. It's elevating cognac beyond the liquid itself into objects of meaning and beauty. It is quality, beauty, and refinement at the service of emotion and pleasure. So here we have people who know how to work the glass engraving, personalization of bottles, working on leather, working on wood, engraving on metal. So all different skill sets that allow us to create really unique objects. Some of the skills we don't have in-house. For example, this piece here, we're using featherwork, and on this we rely on a Brazilian artist who helped us express our concept of poets and birds. So the notion of writing poetry with cognac, using birds as a symbol of elegance, of gracefulness, and so on. But we have even one more dimension, which is emotions. When we express the notion of the phoenix, I think it's also something any entrepreneur can relate to, right? This bird that will die and gets reborn from the ashes, right? This is the story of many entrepreneurs, many ventures. So we can convey those kind of emotions as well and those stories in the product. That's what makes them truly special and very highly desirable.
Please, tell me more about how exactly this design is created right here. I comprehend that I perceive in this particular location the presence of leather, wood indeed, different materials, threads, as well as stones and other similar items of various kinds. Do you have any designers working in-house at this specific location?
The idea of the atelier is that we would have sufficient amount of skills here and creativity to do everything in-house. In reality, sometimes for very specific skills like featherwork, we have to bring in people from the outside. But all the product ideas originate from here. The head of the atelier, Isabelle, someone very creative, comes from the world of fashion and beauty. We would exchange on ideas, on concepts. Like, for example, here, really my idea was to explore poetry, write poetry with cognac. And from this, we discuss, we chat, we brainstorm on, well, how can we create poetry with cognac? And we come up with different concepts. We then choose the one that we think has the most potential of creating something really beautiful, something touching on an emotional level. And then we start building it, building the prototypes, acquiring skills if we need to, until we get to a finished product that we like. So it can take 1 to 2 years to get to the actual finished product with this.
Listen, this is very much like the process of real estate development, involving the design and construction of buildings and structures. It is as if you are creating space and emotions, signifying what individuals will feel when they hold it, when they look at it, and when they interact with it. And we will most likely ask you to participate in the creation of Layan Verde, to at least introduce your team. Maybe there will be some ideas, certainly for creating a residence in Layan Verde, a residence like Layan Verde, where you can contribute your expertise and be part of this exciting project.
This is why I'm really looking forward to working on the Layan Verde project. It's you were asking me earlier, well, how do we choose which investments we make? And as I told you, the big part of it, one of the pillars is it has to be something we will enjoy being involved with. And this is exactly the case with Layan Verde. You have a vision, you have an amazing vision of what the complex will be, what it will look like, how it integrates with nature, how people will spend time there, how they will interact. And for us, we will work on taking this vision, your vision in, and see how with Camus, we can add in the Camus apartment, in the Camus residence, how we can add to this, belonging to your vision, probably bringing in the notions of the ocean, of the mountains, the beauty of Thailand, the weather, the sounds, the light, and build a residence that will, based on all this, taking this as a support, create a place where you just feel great, and where you'll be able to share time around a nice glass of cognac, of course, with your friends or with your family, in a truly unique and intensely emotional way.
In the real estate industry, we have already come across individuals who are beginning to purchase properties using cryptocurrencies. Tell me, please, are you acquainted with the new blockchain technology in any way, shape, or form?
We are looking at the blockchain, but we haven't done anything yet. But we're still exploring how we can use the blockchain to, of course, authentify the products, but there will never be a fake of this, right? There cannot be any counterfeit. So it's not so much that issue, but it's on maybe building over time continued value for the product. A number of our products are purchased by investors, by collectors, who see this as an investment as well. So how could we make sure every time in the future there is a transaction that we can follow where this piece is going? Maybe in a very simple way. For example, when you buy this product, we will give you also a small bottle of the same liquid that you can taste without necessarily opening the bottle. Probably every time this piece gets transferred to someone, we will want to maybe offer again this opportunity to taste the cognac, but we need to authenticate the transaction in the way. So blockchain in those kind of aspects could be interesting. So we're looking at this. We're not looking at selling any digital art or digital assets, because our product is you have to drink it and smell it and touch it. It's we're rooted in reality, in material world.
Right now, there's a big trend gaining momentum there, GPTchat, artificial intelligence. To what extent, how extensively are you already utilizing? Because in real estate, of course, technologies are heavily used, including artificial intelligence. Also now for creating designs, spaces, for everything. Please provide additional information about artificial intelligence Your approach and the extent to which you have already commenced its implementation in production across all areas and regions globally?
Artificial intelligence is bringing a new dimension or elevated dimension to what we do in our production process, some of the production process. So managing vineyards, adjusting to the weather. This is an area where we can develop specific AI to help us. From a marketing and design point of view, we found generative AI to be very, very interesting. The ability to create visuals almost instantly from concept and descriptions, that is extremely useful to us. It is faster than drawing, faster than designing in a human fashion. So it helps in our brainstorming process, for example. It helps in visualizing some of our ideas. Of course, we've tried product design through AI. We haven't found anything fantastic out of that, but it helps with the communication. Really, it speeds up the process. Of course, generative AI, visual generative AI, like Midjourney, for example, it helps with social media because it helps us generate images at a much faster rate than we would through traditional technology.
I will now inquire you a question from the GPT chat, not from my own personal thoughts.
Okay. All right. Can I use GPTchat to answer?
If you were confronted with a decision between upholding strict family traditions in managing the company and the opportunity for substantial business expansion through external management, what decision would you ultimately make in this scenario?
Well, we're facing that choice every day. The answer to that for us is quite simple. External management, however aligned with your values they might be, will never have the real long-term vision we can have. We have family members that are the most competent people for the job. For example, my father was not a marketing guru, but he was exceptional from the production side. So a lot of our initiatives to increase the aromatic intensity of our products came from him. So he contributed something that no one else could have from his skill set. And next generation, I can already see my sons, very different skill sets in my two older sons, but they're both following an entrepreneurial education that will give them the tools to be the best possible manager the company could wish for. You know, outside managing the company, a big part of our job in generation is preparing the next generation to run the company, yes, in a different way, but to actually be the most competent person for that job. And today is the case. I already know for the next generation, I will not need to look for outside professional to come and run the company. I know my two older kids already are very expert managers and will be able to grow the company a lot more than I did. I didn't have to choose, but we had to work hard at making sure it is not a choice, but you can actually achieve both.
ChatGPT, you understand now?
It's not a choice.
Cyril, please inform me of our current whereabouts. This is a new location for our team. And now, please inform me what is located at this place.
Yeah, this is so another one of our house. This house here is more recent for us. It's a house that's in the middle of one of our vineyards. So here we're surrounded by about 200 hectares of forest and vines. And it's a house we renovated about 30 years ago. And now my father lives here, but also sometimes myself with the kids. But it's really quite a typical large farmhouse or estate house in Cognac. You know, you can see from the house, it's like a square with an inside courtyard. We like to keep life quite private here. So a lot of the windows were actually facing inside towards the courtyard. And it's only at the beginning of 20th century that we started to open windows facing the outside. So this kind of architecture you can see in a few places in Cognac. What I like the most about this place is we don't have any neighbors.
Yeah.
So it's very quiet. We're surrounded by 3 villages, but they're all about 2 kilometers away from here. So it's
How many bedrooms are present in total? What is located inside this house?
the interior was renovated according to the original design of the house. We didn't really change anything. We just renovated it, and it mostly focused on 3 entertainment areas, if you would like. There is the music room, which is in Louis XV style. Then we have the sitting room, which is Louis XVI style, and then we have the dining room, Louis XVII style. And the habit in houses like this is that you would have, in the evening, you would spend a moment in each room. So you would start usually by having the aperitif in the sitting room, have a chat, then you go to the dining room for dinner, then you go to the music room for the digestif, for the cognac. So there's quite often here a notion that one evening you move from one place to the other for different moments of consumption. So inside the house, it's all about musical instruments. We also have a collection of crystal decanters. So maybe some of them were bottles we used for a product. Others are bottles we received as gifts over the years. And of course, a few personal mementos, pictures of the family, things like this. And in terms of art, we're actually just starting now to bring in some art pieces to put around the vineyards. I believe beauty of a landscape is really important in terms of making people feel good and creating positive emotions as well. So we want to encourage more people to come and walk through our vineyards and see different pieces of art in different parts of the vineyards. So we started with a red dragon that was created by a French artist, and every year we will add more sculptures around the vineyards.
Please tell me a little bit about grapes in general and their characteristics. Is this one type of grape always used in cognac, or are different varieties used?
So here we're in the middle of the largest of our vineyards. So it's about 125 hectares of vineyards, all in one block in the Bordeaux region, so heart of the cognac region. We use mostly Uni Blanc type of grapes. They're a grape that produces a very acidic wine, and that's actually good for distillation. It's a low strength wine, it's about 10% alcohol, perfect for making great cognac. So about 88% of the vineyard is Uni Blanc, and the other 12% is divided equally in 2 other varietals, which are Colombard and Folle Blanche. So Colombard and Folle Blanche are even more aromatic type of grape, but unfortunately they're also more fragile. So the production volume is much smaller. But as we renew the vineyard all the time, right? After 35, 40 years, the vines become too old. So we have to change them and plant new ones. Most of what we plant now is Colombard and Folle Blanche, always looking for this aromatic intensity. Unfortunately, it means we will produce a little bit less, but more aromatic cognacs.
Let's discuss individuals present in this location. You currently have a total of 300 employees working for your company, a large company. And please tell me how many employees work in France and how many in other countries. And you also mentioned that you have a total of 73 different nationalities. So could you please provide me with information about the structure of your human resources and how they function, as well as how they interact with each other?
Sure. So we have about 300 people around the world. Roughly half of them, so about 150 people, are based in France. We would have roughly 100 people that are in the original headquarters in Cognac, where we have all the main functions, so finance, marketing, all the support services, sales administration, and so on, but also the bottling lines. So we have about 35 people working on bottling and packaging. Then in France, the other 50 people would be divided between the aging cellar, the distillery, and the vineyards. But even in a vineyard of this size, you don't actually need that many people. It's about 14 people managing the 200 hectares of vineyards. And then we have a commercial office in Bordeaux. For the rest of the world, so about 150 people as well. 100 of those are based in China, where we have a large distribution company, so a lot of salespeople, big marketing function there as well. And then we would have offices in Hong Kong, as well as in the US, and as well as Moscow. So the teams around the world. We also have people based in Dubai, in the Philippines, and a number of other countries. Their responsibility is mostly of a commercial nature. But this means that, yes, we have a lot of different nationalities in the company, about 17 different nationalities. But it's also, for example, in China, we have people from 3 different nationalities in China, not just Chinese employees. So a lot of cultural diversity, but alignment on values and an alignment on how we conduct business. Now, for a company our size, 300 people is actually not many, but it is an objective we have, or a policy we have, to keep each business unit to 100 people or less, because it's 100 people is kind of the magical number where you can follow the career and the competencies of each person individually. And to me, that is really important. Every employee matters in the company. We want the CEO of each company, general manager of each company, to know all of his employees, to be able to talk to them once a year, do at least once a year, and do the individual review and discuss with them where they want their career to go, how they want to contribute to our company, or how they want to grow as people. And I believe it makes a difference. People have a way to be more fulfilled in their job and therefore contribute more to the company. So that's that is why that sort of magic number, and I'm very demanding on this as well. It's like in Chinese distribution company, we're always between 98 to 100 people, but never more, never more. In France, a little bit flexibility. Sometimes we're a little bit over 100 in the head office. But it's roughly those numbers.
Throughout your reign, you have been in control of the company for a period of more than 2 decades. Has the company experienced growth or remained unchanged in terms of the number of individuals employed?
The number of people increased. When I started running the company, we had about 135 people. So it more than doubled. But in 10, 12 years ago, actually, when our business in China started to really grow, we had more than 300 people in China alone. Wow. So the entire company was over 500 people. That's when I realized that running a company in China, running a company with 300 people, we lost that sort of capacity to follow the path of each person. So yes, we were doing the job, we were doing well, but people were not feeling as fulfilled, and the level of service we gave to our partners and distributors was not as high as I wanted. So we started actually then to decrease the number of people, still grow the business, but basically more training, more skill set for everyone. So every employee became a super employee. And that's why 10 years later, we have a third of number of people in China, but double the size of the business from 10 years ago.
And about efficiency, yeah?
Exactly, and good training programs and individual paths, and being demanding as well. Individual evaluation means we will help you develop a career path, but if you don't want to, then you don't have a place in the company. We only keep people who want to grow, right? So it's also selective.
Cyril, could you kindly provide me with some information about this room? I'm interested to know if it is true that the renowned musician Rostropovich himself played this piano in the past.
Yeah. It's this room is all about music, and we have a lot of instruments here, which are quite rare. Some of them were only used for a very short period of time and for special purposes. So this is a collection that my mother put together over her lifetime of always special instruments. And this piano, yes, it's quite special. It's been in the family for a long time, and we're not very good musicians in the family, so we never played the piano very well. But we once had the pleasure of having indeed Maestro Rostropovich come here and play the piano as we were here. So this was one of the, one of those amazing moments, right? When you have so much talent in the room, and it's 16 or 17 years old, and I remember him, playing on this piano. It was one of those magic moments.
Folks, this is an incredibly fascinating moment at this very point in time. Therefore, this bottle of XO Camus Cognac will be awarded to one of our subscribers who correctly guesses the highest number of movies featuring Camus Cognac. The winner will be chosen based on their accurate identification of the most film references or appearances of Camus Cognac. Don't miss this chance to participate and have a shot at winning this exclusive bottle of XO Camus Cognac, a valuable item for movie enthusiasts and cognac aficionados alike. Here is the task. It turns out there are numerous Soviet films in the Soviet Union, and they are widely recognized. Soviet people were familiar with all of them and had watched all of them. So guys, this lovely bottle will be awarded to whoever can name the greatest number of these films, and of course write the titles of these films directly in the comments.
This is called French billiard.
And now there will be a final question, but in this situation, during the interview with you, it holds a special significance. Make sure to provide the titles of the films accurately and explicitly, as Cyril emphasizes. The remnants left by our ancestors on rock carvings or ancient books are invaluable. Through reading and deciphering, we gain insights into our past. These traces serve as a bridge between generations, connecting us to our roots. They are a testament to the wisdom and knowledge of those who came before, reminding us of our shared history and heritage. We are presently in a new era, and we possess a distinctive opportunity at this moment. We leave a digital footprint on YouTube, ensuring that our presence is documented for future generations, spanning years, decades, and even centuries to come. And the query at hand is this. Envision a scenario where, in the span of 500 years, your descendants stumble upon this video recording and you find yourself with a mere 60 seconds to send them a message that will resonate through the ages and shape their understanding of who they are and where they come from. Now tell them everything you want to say within a minute or two, no matter how long. In short, a message for your descendants in 500 years.
I think there's value in looking in the past and finding inspiration in the past, building your values according to the values from your predecessors and ancestors. But more importantly, I think what really matters is that you use what the previous generations have learned to build the future. Past matters, but only as a base to build a future that's even better. So if I look 100 years forward or 200 years forward, I hope the next generations will continue to change things, continue to build a future that continues to bring more beauty, continues to bring more refinement, continues to bring emotion to people and pleasure. And I really hope the next generation, like me, will take as much pleasure doing it as I've been taking pleasure.